The evening of Thursday, May 28th is today, 2026. Good evening, everyone. All right. There is something that happened a year ago today, on 28th day of May last year. Something terrible happened. And the reason why I am saying this is because there is a deliberate target at children, school children, and unborn children by all these terrorists who are operating in Nigeria. Now, before I tell you about their agenda towards school, towards children, which is leading to the mass abduction of children, which is leading to the kind of torture or inhuman treatment they are leveling against these children. Look at the photos and videos that is surfacing from the victims who are in the bush in Oyo State. And are you going to tell me that the Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, don't have what it takes, either helicopter, fighter jet, to go and rescue these children kidnapped since? That question is a question that we are going to deliberate in another video, and I will tell you why. Now, what happened a year today? In southern Kaduna, a pregnant woman was kidnapped by the Fulàni militia. So, they raped this woman. They were sleeping with her, a pregnant woman, almost 9 months. Because of that, the baby now come out. I will say prematurely. That wasn't the time the baby is supposed to come out. What do they do so that the child will not disturb them? These people took the child and they fed the child to dog. And it was all in the news media, like what you are seeing now. Yeah. I will not allow you to stay down there. You can go and Google it and verify what I'm talking about. You know, all these things I'm saying is against policy, but who cares? Nobody is remembering that child that did not last seconds, did not last 1 minute on earth. Fulani militia gave the baby to dog. We don't know whether it's a baby boy or a baby girl. The mother don't know whether it's a baby boy or a baby girl. You know, it shall never be well with anyone who is sponsoring all these terrorists. It shall never be well with the coalition of APC of that 2014-2015. Never. Never. You know, every year I have set a reminder for this. I will be reminded about this. This is not something people should forget about. Like, anytime I remember it, I feel so bad, you know. I feel so bad to the extent that I became emotional. I used to, you know, be emotional and unable to control my emotions. I don't like remembering all these things. But sometimes it is important you reflect back to understand what is actually going on in your country. And someone who killed this baby, who carried out this attack, if they said that, you know, they should bring out the real person who carried out this attack, I will tell you that the person is buying from under ADC to go for election. I will tell you that the person is already in the society. They have reintegrated the person into the society. See, you people should be very, very careful with this, your Nigeria, okay? People should be very careful with this country. You people should be very careful. Children are now in the bush. Nobody cares. Now, why is the deliberate attempt to stop school in Nigeria? A lot of people don't know that this attempt of targeting schools, kidnapping school children, that it is intentional. They want to stop Western education because they said Western education is prohibited. It's against their law. Anything about Western education is evil and it shouldn't be. Do you understand? So that is what is going on. They don't want Western education. They want to mix students to hate education. That is their mission. I want you to always try to do research. Why? Anything that is happening, always ask question why. And there is a reason for everything. So, I was listening to one barrister in Arise News. That was yesterday. And he was just thinking the same thing that I know. He said the mission of all these people is to make children to hate schools. Take a listen.
But the lived experiences of millions of children in Nigeria is that the schools are no longer safe. We've heard where parents were saying, "Oh, if I had known, I would not have sent my child to school. I would not have allowed my child to go to school." That is a reality on ground. A lot of children from the north to the south, are developing phobia for education, increasing the rate of out-of-school children and school dropout. I mean, parents now feel that it's safer for them to send their children on the street than to go to school because of safety concerns. And this is coming at the background of the Safe School Initiative, which is meant to provide secured learning environment, but it's been hindered by a lot of bureaucratic bottlenecks, including funding, collaboration, synergy. The federal, the national, and the state governments, we're supposed to work together, counterpart funding and all of that, provide all of those things to ensure the realization of this initiative. But that is not happening, in reality, especially in the mass of it. So children, a lot of schools are without proper security, proper fencing, and all that. In fact, a lot of schools do not even have the physical security guards. To start with, most of the schools are not properly fenced. Children would have to, cross the road to go and, ease themselves. A whole lot of things are happening, and children are becoming susceptible to abuse. Not just even the kidnapping, abuse, sexual violence is on the rise, physical assault, bullying, and all sort of things. So coming to your question, I believe that if the government needs to do quite a lot of things, inclusive of the NGOs and organizations like us. We need to intensify the advocacy, and sensitization across board to ensure that schools are safe.
And that's exactly where I'd like to come in. I mean, when you hear from the federal government that the future is now, promoting inclusion for every Nigerian child, and so many Nigerians are alarmed that while we celebrate Children's Day, there are hundreds of Nigerian children in kidnappers' den. What exactly is the best way that not just government, society as a whole, can honor the Nigerian child to walk away from just talk to real action that can better the life of the Nigerian child today, tomorrow, and the day after?
Yes, to say that we are not all saddened by this ugly incident of having our children, in the bushes and in captivity even today, is to say the least of our worries. It's a matter of fact. We feel that today many children are supposed to be at home, celebrating with their parents and all that, but a number of them are in captivity, sleeping in open and harsh weather conditions and in untold circumstances, and it breaks our heart so badly. Now,
I must say, I mean, it's sad. I see your eyes go red, tear up already. I mean, that in itself is quite telling.
Yes. So the government, the civil society, the security agencies, everybody, the media, everybody must begin to prioritize the safety of children in school, in the communities, and just virtually everywhere. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is mandated by the initiative to ensure safety. But talking about our lived experiences, I mean, how many security personnel do we have in this country, in comparison with the total number of children that we have?
Right.
I think about 40% of Nigeria's population, comprises of the children. And so you can just imagine what we're talking about. And the landmass in Nigeria alone is huge. So it cannot be properly policed by just one agency. And so there has to be an interagency, a very strategic, a policy to ensure that across board, all the agencies are working together to ensure the safety of children, even at this critical time that we're. Now, the civil society organization must begin to use this opportunity to advance the advocacy and strategies to ensure that there's compliance with policies, compliance with legal frameworks, compliance with strategic and even institutional frameworks. We need to become, a platform whereby we hold people to account. Because without accountability, there cannot be adequate funding of government policies. And so everybody, all hands must be on deck. The media must begin to go to schools and to ensure that, there is no, and spotlight compliance or otherwise of policies and all of that. Because it's the best interest of our children that we should consider. So everybody, the teachers, there must be reporting lines. There must be communication gadgets. There must be synergy, all this
What about the family? That's
Yes.
the first, the
Very
first
quickly,
encounter, very
we need to
quickly,
go.
in
We need to
30
go.
seconds.
Yes.
I mean,
The families must
Yeah.
do quite a lot to ensure that children are going to schools, going to, well-documented schools, properly ascertained schools, not just, there are private schools, there are some schools that are not properly documented and all of that. Because insecurity affects children both in private and in public schools.
Right.
And so we must ensure parents, have a lot to do
Okay.
with regards to safety
I
of
have
children.
to say thank you very much. Michael Eje is a lawyer.